Guys, before I go to bed, I do not play favorites. I connect to those that connect to me. Okay. The whole thing about the Jesus thing, I have to know who you are. Okay, if I don't know who you are, I can't connect to you in prayer. But if I don't know who you are, just try in every way you can to share the fact that the Messiah lives in New Mexico, he's fulfilled the book of Revelation, and let's live the Lord's Prayer now. Then you're not worried about you're not worried about, the afterlife. I'm going to die. I'm scared. You're not the doctor with the new teeth that was obnoxious on Scrubs, right? And I can't tell you how much you guys need to stop indulging in other people's sin and denying you your own existence, your own truth, your own life. Okay? They've done this ever since we started writing, novels and books and getting together and telling stories about life to try to make life like the Odyssey and all that bullshit. The bullshit that it doesn't need to be necessary for life. Like going and sacking the Trojans and coming back with all the stuff that idiots accept as, gold and plunder and all that crap. And what's really important is loving your wife and loving your kids and teaching them to respect and be empathetic, and that's real strength. And this has been an issue among human beings for thousands and thousands of years. And the solution to that issue is not being on TV and being the stars of Celebrity Family Food. Okay, stand up for the Lord's Prayer. Okay, I can't protect you from your sin. Okay, I can't do that. Okay, if you sin, I can't protect you from it. I can't pay for it. This is me before I turned 4, the year my sister was born, with Spencer J. Kimball after his bullshit Easter sermon. Well, that's bullshit. Jesus can't pay for our disgustingness if we choose not to obey him and do our best to be like him, because he commanded us to do that. We have to do what he tells us to do because we can do it. And if we refuse to do it and say, he's going to pay for me because I'm not good enough to do it, that's bullshit. Why did he stand up for, to get that message across for you? Forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Don't believe the Roman Republic. Don't believe the Roman Empire. Don't believe Europa. They're full of shit. They'll take my life and turn it into a cartoon character, so you all think that the cartoon character in your head is better than the living Messiah Earl in the book of Revelation. Hi, the Messiah Earl from the book of Revelation. Okay, so you guys understand? And so let me get a drink here. I'm very thirsty. Very dehydrated. But it happens a lot when you're detoxing, and then there's activities that are economic that are killing the people that are doing those economic activities. I get upset when it happens, but it's harder on the kiddos that have to do it. They get spray back in it. They're driving around in it. It's covered all over them. The wind blows around here. This is New Mexico. It sprays right back on those kids. It's killing those kids because that's their job, that they have to pay their bills, and they don't have other choices. This is Las Cruces. You go home, you wash up here, you go get this job, that's a Freon factory. That one, you go get a job at White Sands. Your teeth are falling out because they have you working in toxic environments. Well, eventually we're going to place you for robots, so you won't have a job and it won't die doing what we have you doing. Boy, Lego piece, how's it feel being Lego Batman? It sucks. Because Lego Batman doesn't have kids. But Lego Batman sells men's Dove Care and oil of Olay, right? Lots of it. And cell phone minutes. And secure care and life alert and all the rest of that crazy crap these assholes do. And they're assholes. Yes, they're assholes. Okay, I love people, but they're such jerks. So something's good and helps people, give it to them. Okay, money's not real. Okay, so. Oh, fuck, I'm exhausted. I'm really tired. Yeah, I'm very tired. But I'm really strong. I'm very, very tough, if you guys, if you told me my life story, I wouldn't have believed you. There's no way a guy is that resilient, that tough, that awesome, that beautiful, unless, of course, he's the God Jesus Christ, right? There's no way this guy is this. He's almost unbelievable. I'm like, why does this keep happening? Why do I have to keep doing this? Well, I have to fix the technology. I have to show them a human standard of eternal faithful love and the courage of kindness that saves us from all this invention and this manipulation and this selfishness. So it's exhausting. You have to carry a lot, you know. But I'm the Hollies. I'm strong enough to carry. If I'm laden at all, I'm laden with sadness that everyone's heart isn't filled with the gladness of love for one another. Yahweh. Carol, you're funny. I know. You gotta have a good sense of humor, or you will die. Okay, you will physically die if you cannot, peace be still yourself. And a lot of what helps, is they think I cheat on the test because me and Jesus are one in spirit, and He connects me to anybody and everybody because He's a human being. He's not a God. He sleeps, He eats. He's got and if Him living in another place of time, just connecting to me in prayer through all this hill would be exhausting, make Him sick, and have his body shutting down and his immune system not being healthy, even though everybody else in the future is living and is healthy. But He's the spirit of the one that has to be the standard to fix technology to care everybody that's being murdered because they're not vicious enough to compete to do stupid shit like this on TV, right? You know what I'm saying? So he's just, for God, I'm gorgeous. Okay, I just when it just hits you, you ever get that where wow. You don't realize it till you sit back and look at it through other people's eyes. I just see myself, I always just saw myself as Earl as a good person that would stand up for you, and if you were getting bullied, you'd want Earl right there, like Terrell McDonald did. If I was walking down the street all night, if I was, I'd want to see you coming, Ralph. It's like, yeah, I understand most people that know me are like that. Oh, good, it's him. Everything's gonna be okay, right? And Terrell was right. Yeah, because I got treated like shit because it was a military town, and I was the bad guy from the books that was, I wasn't doing it right according to all the right-wing conservatives, and I was the problem that caused all the white-wing conservatives to all the liberals, and you're like, fuck. Seems I can't win for losing. Why is shit so confusing? Yesterday fades away, becomes another memory. Peaceful living's what I'm wishing, thinking of a change. It's a good song. Alan Gibson. Yeah, it's a good song. Well, you'll hear it. I got it on my MP3, and my MP3 player is more important than yours. Well, I save people from genocide, and you participate in businesses that kill people from genocide. So, I was sitting there, and it went into play because my hands were all wet because I was washing off all the salt water, and I started playing these ads before that God Saved Me thing with Vince, Alice Cooper, who's a very decent individual, very kind and thoughtful individual. He's not a creep, and he's not a, he was just a very tough lifestyle, and it was hard on him. And no, he's a good guy. I've met him. Yeah. Tom just adored him, and he was a real sweetheart. He came in and just sat and just, talked to Tom for a while and stuff, and we were all just working and doing a thing, and, we were just so excited that, he came in, he met him, and he appreciated the joke, and he was just a really good guy. Tom was like, that was so cool. He's really cool. Well, he's a human being, right? And he turned out to be, he didn't buy his own press and was an egomaniac. He's really cool Cortez cult, Well, he's not a Cortez cult. He's a human being. Our indoctrination place, that one lady, I was Mayfield Trojan. They were both shitty to me. Neither a bulldog nor a Trojan bee. The Skyhawks are shitty to me too. Yeah. Savages too. The only ones that weren't real shitty to me were the DMDHs, the Rocky Mountain Way. Because they were getting beat so bad. They were stellar team, Sister Snow's book, they were stellar team. Mrs. Robinson, Mom, what the hell's going on? Mom comes up to me, this is the first game they've ever won. What? And of course, Earl's reply was, big get used to me. I ain't come out here losing. We're going to win more. Mrs. Robinson, that's the kind of attitude we need. Just so cute. Because I was like, what? I had never played on teams that lost, and it wasn't part of my DNA or my vernacular. It was like, what? I'm not doing anything to win, but like I used to tell Coach Treviso when he thought I was arrogant, it's like, oh no, they can do this, they can cheat, I'm not going to give them my integrity, but I guarantee you this, 8 times out of 10 I'm going to win. They're going to have to cheat really hard to beat me. Okay, and he's gonna get his, and I'm gonna get mine's. But when it gets 10-10, and we're both at 5, and we go overtime, when it's 13, he gonna have 12. That's just how I was. It's like what? That's just I was just that way, and it almost always worked out that way for me. It was very rare that we lost, and a lot of times, the other teams were better or more talented than me. When I was played on a team that was more talented than everybody, it was 144-29. And I had 30 assists. No, I'm not joking. Okay. When I played with Busting Loose, I never kept count. But if they were keeping, if the little blonde kid from Duke, he's like, you had 35 assists tonight, Earl. Well, I had to look at my team. All I had to do was get the outlet and then just turn up, swivel up head and jet, and then just go, okay, who's got the best shot? And the pass was usually, it was like right from my hand to their dunk or their 3-pointer. It was that easy. As junior some nights would shoot 60% because the defense just couldn't stop him from 3-point or even higher. Some nights he would get going on his 3, and I don't know if he'd miss. We won like 144-29. The guys could not guard him. Okay, and so the white guys, they hated us. That's why they almost tried to kill Alvin in the parking lot and stuff, because we humiliated them. We weren't trying to. It was just basketball. It was Danny. It was basketball. We run, we press from tip to buzzer. We're busting loose, and we don't stop until the buzzer. We just go. And it was, when we were playing against most of those teams, we could clear the bench and put in our worst teams. And against the teams that weren't as good, Danny, because I was a young player and wanted to get me experience, let me play most of the games. I rarely sat. And it was fun. Because I loved it. It was running. I'd get the ball, I'd get out on the break, I would cover on the defense. I did everything he asked me to do, except he wanted me to do more, but I told him no, because I wasn't here to humiliate these older men. I had to go to school with their kids. Some were KKK leaders. And I'll navigate through this. I was a grown man by the time I was 15 on a lot of things. Guys, I'm like David and Moses, and yeah. I could navigate through social convention and certain things, and when it got to bullying, though, that was radically different. Even with Danny, when he sat there and he almost broke my finger, most people would have broke his finger. Okay, he jammed my finger. He threw that pass between his legs, going up against Kurt Cochran. I was standing right there, like 3 feet. I was right in the center. He was going right towards the basket, and I was standing right under the basket. I cut. He threw the ball as fast as he can between his legs right through me. It was like a rocket. He's very strong. I don't know. Giant Elway didn't have nothing on Danny Bennett, and that ball jammed my finger. It warped the basketball and cracked the bleachers. Okay, and hit my finger before it did that. Okay, so I told him, he said, okay, nobody could have caught that. My ass would have broke the bleachers. My tailbone, I'd be like, no. I'd be like, ayo, that hurt, ayo, like Clay Matthews, right? It was funny, but I told him, no, man, nobody. That's when he benched me the rest of the game, because I told him, I said, no, fuck that shit. All you had to do was this, Danny. And I know it's all about the show, but that was uncalled for. You threw that fucker because he was going through it, and the way he did it, he threw it real hard and fast, and he didn't have to make it spectacular. He could have, but that's his thing. That was his thing. People come to see me play, and it's always spectacular. It's like, yeah, but even when you're throwing it between your legs, you can put a little touch on it. You don't want nobody to steal it. It's like, yeah, because it's got to look good. Me, no. Me, it would have been, I would have switched to the left hand, like I did with Ray and Booney, and I would just drop it real soft right into their hands, and they'd lay it up. I think it was just as pretty myself. Because, like when I watch those things on TV, like with Luka Doncic, it's not a no-look pass. That's a look-away pass. Lots of guys do look-away passes to put on a show, but it's not a no-look pass. A no-look pass is when I go down the lane, you go and they're all eyes are on you. Like, when Michael and Wendell Wright did that no-look free throw or that no-look jump shot. Wendell was a three-pointer. He hit it too. Yeah, he was from L.A. Yeah, he looked right at me because he heard me. Y'all was loud. Yeah, the old alumni were talking shit about Wendell and about Orlando, and I guess him and Orlando were friends. And I was defending him because I was like, man, and he looked over, And he looked over and he gave me like a wink, and then afterwards he looked right at me and he took the jumper, the 3-point jumper, and he nailed it. And I was like, yeah. And then a couple of plays after that, the guy was really talking shit about how bad Orlando Fabris was. And when it came through the lane, he knocked it, it bounced off the back of the rim, and Orlando went up and caught it 2 feet above the rim and slammed it right in the other guy's face. Boom! And I was like, oh yeah, he really sucks. Yeah, he doesn't deserve a scholarship. My dad Earl's like, he ain't got no right to be, just because they dropped the cash down and shit. Dad, I was mad. I was like, you talk shit about these kids, man. They're out there busting their ass. They're really talented. They're really good. They work their ass off in practice. It's really hard. You know, he sucks. He does not suck. No, he was a very good basketball player. He had a pro career. He played for the Puerto Rican Olympic team, you know, and did really, yeah. So Orlando Fabris was a good ball player. Okay, yeah. He was one of my favorites. Yeah, at New Mexico State. But yeah, the old alumni was talking shit. I was mad. We had good tickets, obviously. Yeah, I was not excited. My dad got a little upset at me, Earl. You know, I'm that way. I'm Mary Ann's boy. Okay, I do not cotton to abuse and verbal abuse and things and stuff like that. No, when we. No, guys, when we made Gumby and Clydesdale Pokey and stuff, no, that's just basic rip. That's not telling them they suck. That's just jumping in their head to get them off their game. Okay? That's just sitting there, let me guard that white boy, your sister who don't like you, that's just joking. Okay, that's not belittling people. That's not making fun of the thing. That's just being silly. Okay, that's just plain silly stuff. Your mama is so fat, That's the way me and my friends used to talk trash, to get them out of their games, to help our buddies win, help Zels win, because we all love Todd Zellman, right? Come on, Zels, go get him, Zels, And so, yeah, we went, and that was just, that's what you do on the bench. It's the great Hambino, It's your sister out in left field. She's naked. She thinks she'll go out with me. You make your weenies with your mama's toe jam, right? That's what we were doing. And if they can handle it, it's like me. I was the exact opposite. Okay, when people did shit like that, I ate it up. I loved it. And then afterwards, we won. And it was funny. And so yeah, with me, I loved that shit. That I liked playing at crowds where remember the kids at Sheridan, you must really suck. You're on this team sucks and you're on the bench. And then we almost won and they came up and said, what happened? I told them what happened. They're like, it's funny. Yeah, football players, fucking football players. You're like Sam Kinnison's best friend who gets you drunk and then videotape him pissing in his designer luggage his wife bought him, right? No, that's football players. But, we got and rednecks that go skiing in New Mexico and go to Elephant Butte and forget to put the boat on the trailer and end up losing their skier about a half a mile back. There's David. That's why I turned this on. There's Robert's oldest son, Nesta. Good old Nesta. I don't know how to tell these people, every time you do this, you're with the advertisers. There is no degrees of separation. There ain't no good guy. There ain't no bad guy. There's only you and me. We just disagree. You can't disagree on the Gospels. You're the faithful or you're not. It's like being kind of pregnant. You're either ready to live the Lord's Prayer or you're not. There's no gray area through this. They have quantum computing now, guys. I've done everything in my ability to help you guys, get up and deliver yourselves from evil. There's only so much I can do. I don't know, how this is being manipulated, how the, Suzuki and Sun Yat-sen remind me, that these people are taught to be vicious, to hate, to see other people as inferior intellectually. They have their Messiah. They act like he doesn't exist. They're killing them with chemical poisoning, legal contracts designed by their law inventors and stuff. And, see how inferior they are. You took your Messiah and plugged his brain into a computer. They don't understand. Guys, they're being manipulated by their own egos. And when you see yourself as superior to other people because you can outmaneuver them to feel superior because you're being cunning, and you're being selfish and cunning and clever, like Judah Krishnamurti, you're supposed to be more clever than your brother, more attractive than your sister, right? And so tell your teacher, don't compare. It's a terrible world. It's a horrible world. The religious world, this world, it all makes no sense. It's all just selfish. Why are they that way, sir? And just don't worry about being successful and appeasing them and doing the things that gain their acceptance, because they'll repair bodies that are being killed over money and not stand up to stop the killing over money. Just try your best to be a good person, because life is eternal and grace is infinite, right? Okay. So you guys got to understand, I can't keep my hair long. One, the chemical poisoning makes it too hard, and second, I'm in the bowels of Wi-Fi manipulation, and I happen to be the Messiah. When my hair was long, when I was in Sierra Vista, it felt like my head was falling off, and it was too much weight. And I kept it, and I had it at first, and then they all came to challenge me. And then I finally had to cut it, and then I grew it back, and then I had to cut it again, and most of it was from my chemical poisoning through legalese. And it hurts. Yeah, it hurts, but what hurts more is the fact that you guys don't believe in the Messiah and don't trust him and don't honor his love and his sacrifice and his perfect commands. That hurts more than all the physical crap and all the people screwing my cute little wife and putting her around on chat rooms and it affecting the kiddos and manipulating and making it very hard on me and Natalie and Patrick to survive that eternal abuse that has been perpetuated for a long time. And so it's very difficult. I don't even think they understand it. I think what genome sequencing is just seeing me as a bad, selfish, mythological, I made up God with my mind to be an egomaniac person, and then destroying that egomania by destroying me. And it's like, you're just doing what your assholes have done throughout time. Okay. It's okay. And it's very hard. And so I'm going to go, guys, so I can load this up and get to sleep on time. Not time, but get to sleep here pretty soon. I love y'all very much. And, please don't buy in to other people's sin and give away your precious time to indulge in their sin. Economic competition, traveling to be successful, starting your charities, giving money to people so they have a better life through your fake money instead of living the perfect commands of the Messiah. You know what I'm saying? Okay, guys, I love you very much. I'll just keep working on this, and we'll see how it works. Peace out, man.